Today we're going to talk about dog backpacks.
Hey. Hi.
This one right here is what Amy and Minnow started with. Can you come up here? Come up here. This is Minnow. Minnow is Amy's dog, my wife. She's the other half of Wilderness Mindset. And they started out with this backpack for their backpacking trips. This is from a company called Canine Pack, and it's called the Mountain Smith. I don't think they make it anymore. This pack didn't make it through a lot of trips because it rubbed Minnow under her armpits. So it kind of rubbed her skin raw, so it didn't really fit her that well. So Amy decided to change packs to this one. This is by Ruffwear. This is the Ruffwear Approach dog backpack. And this turned out to be a way better backpack. It fit the dogs way better. And you may notice that there are two backpacks here, and that's because one is for Echo, which is Minnow's daughter. Do you want to both come up? Come on up. This one is her backpack. And this one is Minnow's backpack, and the reason we can tell is because we put their trail names on them. Minnow's trail name is Dust Devil. Echo's trail name isn't on here anymore, but it's called Plopper Cow. And as you can tell, these packs are in horrible shape. That's because we took both of our dogs on the Continental Divide Trail in 2021. We made it about 2,000 miles, so these packs have about 2,000 miles on them. Our dogs like to chase things, as most dogs do. They'll chase animals, rodents, all kinds of stuff into thick brush with absolutely no regard for what they're wearing. I think they usually forget that they are wearing their packs. So they'll go into tight places and they'll get caught and hung up on branches and stuff all the time. And they'll usually be ripping through branches and all kinds of stuff that damages the packs. So this review is kind of about how these packs held up when they were put through an absolute torture test. You'll see these nice brand new packs over here. This is this pack. So this is what this pack will look like after 2,000 miles. We have since replaced them. Both of these packs are size small. They worked for both of our dogs. Echo has grown a little bit since the CDT. She kind of has a bigger chest, so we got her a size medium when we got the new one. Let's talk about how these packs failed. You might be able to see holes. Basically both sides of these bags developed holes after a while. This is the front of the pack. This part, I think, is the part that kind of sticks out the most, and it's the part that hits the most brush and everything when they're running through the branches. We tried patching them multiple times. Whatever fabric we could find, we sewed it into the pack to try to block these holes. They would work for a little bit longer, but eventually the hole would develop even further. The zipper on this side failed completely. Eventually we had to use a little carabiner to keep this side closed. The backpacks also have, aside from the main compartment, there's a smaller top pouch. We stored smaller things in here, like foot wrap, poop bags, blood stoppers in case they ever had a serious injury. This is kind of like the doggy first aid spot. Sometimes we put treats in there. This is going to turn a little bit into tips and tricks about how to hike with your dog too. So eventually we learned that some essential things to carry with your dog when you're on a long backpacking trip. One of the important things is musher's wax, which is something that like Iditarod racers use. Sled dog people, they put wax on their dog's feet, and there's a special tin that's made for dog feet, so that'll kind of help keep the dog's foot moisturized and help heal all the small scratches and stuff that they get out there. And then on long backpacking trips, your dog is probably going to develop some kind of cuts or raw spots on their feet eventually. We tried putting booties on the dogs to protect their feet. Ruffwear also makes those booties, and that did not go well. I think we might save that for another video. but we do not recommend the Ruffwear dog booties because they actually made the problem worse. So eventually we learned that the dogs needed something kind of more flexible and breathable and just something that worked better with their foot. So that's why the stretchy, self-sticking wrap works best. You do have to replace it very often, so it's a little bit wasteful in that way, but that was the most reliable thing and the thing that caused the least amount of problems on their feet. We also kept a bandana in each dog's backpack, so when it was really hot during the desert sections oftentimes, we would get that wet and kind of wrap it around their neck and then drape it over the top of their head. So that would help them stay a little bit cooler, whatever we could do to keep them cooler. So we started out the trail thinking that we would put food and water in the dog backpacks. Eventually we learned that that was going to be too much weight and too much space because that wouldn't all fit in here. So eventually we realized that we would need to carry their water, so that was more weight in our backpacks. But they could carry their food, and they can carry about 5 days worth of food in their backpack. And the way that we did that was we got these old dry sacks. So these are just our dry sacks that have been retired because they're old and have holes. And then we would just use Ziploc bags and fill one of these. So one full sandwich bag was a day's worth of food for a dog usually. So as a general rule of thumb, the absolute maximum percentage of the dog's body weight that you want to put in their backpack is 25% of their weight. To play it safe, you'd want to keep it around 10% of their body weight. So we would usually keep 2 of these dry sacks, one on each side, and then you try to distribute the weight as evenly as possible between both sides. The biggest challenge with any of these dog backpacks is they need to be almost perfectly weight distributed. If one side heavier than the other, the pack is going to start to slide like this on your dog. And that was another thing that I don't think we ever perfected, but something that we got kind of good at. But it's really annoying because every time your dog eats, that changes the distribution of the weight, so then you would have to redistribute the weight. So multiple times a day, we were usually taking a little bit of food out of one side and putting it into the other side, just trying to keep these packs balanced. Now I'm just going to go over some of the features on this pack. We'll use the nice new one since it's prettier to look at. The main handle up on the front is really helpful. There are a bunch of situations where we kind of had to help our dogs up over a small cliff or something like that. There's a leash tie-off point right here and another one here. I think this can be used for a leash as well. And this is kind of nice because this is also a harness, so if you're attaching your leash to this, your dog already has the harness built into it. 2 main compartments, and then the smaller top pocket. We've got a bandana in there already for this one. There's all these small loops that you can attach small accessories to. We actually use them to tie a GoPro 360 onto Minnow one time, or a few times. This trim is reflective, so that's kind of helpful at night. If you have your headlamp on or any other lights, they'll glow a little bit in the nighttime, so that's easier to help find them. There are 5 adjustable points where you can adjust the fit of this backpack, and just like your own backpack, when you're backpacking, it's very important to get the fit right. You want all of your straps adjusted just right so the pack sits just right on your back, and it's no different for the dogs. So it's important to put this on your dog before you go out and kind of pay attention to how the weight sits. Make sure that the straps are not very tight but taut where they should be, but that there's also enough kind of give so that the backpack can move a little bit. If things are too tight, the backpack is going to start rubbing on different parts of your dog and make their skin raw. So now we can demonstrate how to put this on the dog. And I don't know if this one's ever been adjusted for Minnow. This is a brand new pack, so we'll kind of show how that process goes. Can you come up? But stay up. Man.
We don't want to do it on you.
So one thing I like about this pack is that it's very quick and easy to put on the dog, and they've kind of learned the routine now. They don't like it, but they do put up with it. So this is the head hole. You just slide it on over their head. And then you have to lift one leg through the pack. So you grab their right front leg, lift it through, and then you don't have to lift up any other legs. So then one clip on this side, and then you pull the other clip through. And that's it. Now you got your backpack on. Minnow usually acts broken for the first few minutes after she puts her pack on because she's a drama queen. But then after a few minutes, they act like they don't even notice it anymore. As I put it on, I noticed it's a little bit tight, so I think we need to adjust some things on her. So I noticed the back strap is a little bit too tight, so we'll loosen that up. And the chest too. The biggest area of concern, I think, is their armpits here in the front. That's where most of the worst of the rubbing is going to happen. So you'll want to make sure that there's a little bit of slack there. I'm going to loosen this clip a little bit. And then using these adjustments here, you can let this sit just a little bit lower, so then there's some slack on the sternum strap in the middle. That feels a little better. Good job. And then taking it off is just as easy. So you lift this up, 2 buckles, and then the whole thing just slides right off. And they know how to walk out of them really easily. There's also a spot on the inside where you can write your name or the dog's name and your phone number, just contact information in case your dog gets lost. I wouldn't rely on this for too long though, because it will get rubbed off. So overall, I think our feelings on this pack are pretty good. I don't think there is a better option out there, at least from what we've seen or from what we've tried out. The build quality on these is good. The stitching is strong, the material is pretty strong. Obviously they don't last forever. I don't think you can expect any pack to last for 5 months on the CDT with dogs like ours that like to chase things. As you can see, they are right now in the background and have absolutely no regard for what they're wearing. So I think they held up about as well as we could have expected. I like how adjustable they are, and I think they were pretty comfortable on the dogs. We would have to ask them, but they never seemed to be in any amount of discomfort. After wearing the pack for 5 minutes, they didn't even notice that they were on anymore. And they would run and sprint and go through places like they had nothing on. 2 issues with this pack, and I think the first issue is probably with all dog packs, but just balancing the pack, getting the weight to sit evenly on the dog so that the backpack sits like it should. It's very, very hard, and it takes a lot of adjusting and trial and error, and it's really annoying to do that when you're in the middle of the trail and you're wearing a backpack, and then you have to bend over and switch out the weight and everything. I don't know if there is a solution to that. You would have to have a completely different design, I think, so not a fault of this backpack. One thing I do wish is that these bags were a little bit bigger. Well, I think a couple of reasons that they made them this size is because if they were bigger, people would overpack and put too much weight on their dog. And also they wanted to keep the backpacks somewhat streamlined. If they were too bulky, that would make the dog really bulky and make problems even worse going through tight brush and stuff like that. But my main reason for saying I wish they were bigger is because when we go on cold weather trips, this didn't really apply on the CDT because it was never that cold. But if we go on winter trips out here in Montana, we always bring some kind of jacket for the dogs or something for them to sleep in so they can stay warm at night. And these jackets, they fit okay in these pouches, but they basically take up the whole pouch. and then you have no room for food. So this is a situation where a bigger pouch would allow for more warm clothes like that. But overall, we're really happy with these packs, and I don't know if there's a better option out there. That's why after we destroyed the first set, we got a new set. And I don't know if we're going to be doing a through hike anytime soon, so I think these are going to last for a really long time. Check out our next video where we go into all the tips and tricks that we learned about hiking with dogs. That was a long learning experience, that's for sure. And don't forget to subscribe for more gear reviews, both backpacking and dog hiking gear reviews.